This is Part 3 Episode 161. Yinga didn't have an easy match. After terminating her domain of extreme ice, her body swayed slightly as she strolled out from the stage. The summoners from the spiritual temple were all stupefied by that match. So, it was actually possible for a summoner to use such means. This was the very first domain to accomplish such a feat in the spiritual temple. Even Chen Hongyu's Beast Emperor domain was far from comparing. Chen Yinga used her own strength to prove Sanshui's previous statement. Indeed, at her level, Sanshui was really in no way her opponent. Bright Glimmer of Hope gradually gained more and more approval from the 6 great temple's powerhouses. The one with the deepest impression was Li Jingji, who originally had believed Long Haochen to be the only really outstanding one in the crew, with at most only Caia being remarkable too. But, from the previous battle, he could see that their other members did not fall behind either. Chen Yinga and Wang Yuanyuan both wielded domains, and greatly powerful ones, causing Jingji to conclude that even he would undoubtedly need to expend massive resources to beat them. The tournament went on. After this round, only 24 more people were left. The battles were especially spectacular. Chen Yinga and Lin Chen's battles were not the only bright spots. The later matches were brilliant and varied because the contestants were becoming more and more powerful. Domains frequently appeared in the stadium, and the spectacle was the most satisfying to the spectators. How would they witness such great strengths without the temple's great gathering? Amongst Bright Glimmer of Hope, Han Yu lost, Bright Glimmer of Hope having finally exhausted its good luck when he came upon Chen Yinga's grandfather, the head of the spiritual temple Chen Hongyu. In front of the powerful Beast Emperor domain, he still managed to last for over 10 minutes before getting defeated, and his comrade, a demonic eye tyrant, also left a very deep impression, being a powerhouse at the peak of the 8th step, blessed with powerful mental suppression and control, even greatly counteracting the effects of the Beast Emperor domain. But, unfortunately, the demonic eye tyrant would need to make an extraordinary encounter to possibly be able to evolve further. Zhong Fangfang, Han Yu, Yang Wenjiao and Duan Yi all faced the difficulty of having mounts that would hardly evolve to the 9th step. By chance, Zhong Fangfang, Lin Xin, Sima Xian, and Wang Yuanyuan also achieved victory against their opponents, clearing the 3rd round smoothly. Amongst Bright Glimmer of Hope, only Long Haochen and Caia were left to participate, only 4 matches being left in this 3rd round. Right now, the calm look maintained so far on Long Haochen's face had a slight change. It wasn't an impossible thing to be drawn against a teammate in this individual competition, especially when only 8 people remained. So Caia and him had fair odds of clashing against each other. Thinking of this, Long Haochen unconsciously reminisced a scene from the Demon Hunt selection of that time, when Caia chose to give up upon meeting him. Was history going to repeat itself? Thinking back to his past promise to Lin Xin, about how he had forgotten to warn Kia at that time, ultimately ending up hurting her, Long Haochen's gaze became a lot warmer. Lightly holding Kia's hand, he declared, "If we run against each other, I will be the one to concede this time, understood?" Kia had a slight start. "Haochen, you." Long Haochen smiled to her. "In those years, you clearly could beat me, yet chose to give up on the match. Why shouldn't I be allowed to concede this one?" Kia laughed in reaction. "Idiot, don't think about it. Do you even take the circumstances to be the same now compared to the past? At that time, winning or losing did not matter, but this match relates to our future resistance against demonkind. You are Bright Glimmer of Hope's captain, our leader. Oh, looks like our match won't get to take place." During their discussion, the light of selection landed onto Kia, as well as Xingyu, another contestant in the Assassin Temple's area opposite. Seeing Xingyu's unreconciled look, Long Haochen couldn't help but laugh. "Look, that great-grandfather-in-law wants to have a go against you." Kia let out a low laugh and replied, "It won't happen." As expected, without need for Kia to step down, the opposite Xingyu had already declared, "I believe there to be no match, and give up this match." After saying that, he returned to his seat without even walking away. Who could expect there to be 3 leading figures to already give up, the most simply eliminated being Xingyu, who actually directly conceded, immediately declaring himself to be no match. This was already the 2nd time the Assassin Temple was confronted with Kia. From Bright Glimmer of Hope 6, only one person had yet to appear on stage. The light of selection only shifted slightly from Caia to Long Houchen, lighting up him and his opponent from the Night Temple. The two sides were from the same temple. That was a knight of high seniority, looking quite a bit older than Long Qianying, who stood up slowly and nodded to Long Houchen seated in the last row, his aged voice sounding very firm. Let this be a showdown between two knights. After saying this, he advanced in large strides toward the field. Long Houchen unconsciously looked at his grandfather, Long Qianying, who showed him a helpless smile. Houchen was slightly shocked, as his grandfather's expression was telling him that he had no way to influence this old knight. In fact, a divine knight had an almost supreme authority, meaning that this knight going beyond Long Qianying's control surely held a very high position as well. Long Houchen followed this golden knight into the stadium, before taking the initiative to accelerate, while going across the arena from the old knight. This was an etiquette as a junior to a senior. He couldn't just stand here and let the elder do the job of increasing the distance. I am Yang Haoyu, an elder who doesn't care about all these matters. Since Haohan couldn't come this time, I am thanking you on his behalf for saving and bringing back the only child of our Yang family. Saying that, he performed a knight salute to Long Houchen. Long Houchen finally recognized this elder. That was actually Yang Haohan's brother, and very possibly an elder brother from his looks. No wonder even his grandpa was very polite to him. Hurriedly, he returned the politeness formally. Yang Haoyu's stagnant look remained on Long Houchen. I have heard Haohan mention you long before. You are really outstanding, surpassing your grandfather and father. But you are, after all, still too young. There are no conceding knights in the Night Temple. If you want me to approve you completely, then it's simple, defeat me. Please. Saying that, this old knight shouted loudly and a trail of golden light lit up on his back, dividing into two straight lines and very rapidly moving to either side as a golden cloud of light forced its way between them and engulfed Yang Haoyu, wrapping around his body. That bright golden light spread over his body, instantly forming a golden armor covering his whole body as a pair of heavy swords formed in his hands. An imposing demeanor rose from him, glinting into the surroundings, causing Long Houchen to feel as if he'd been placed in the midst of outer space, with a ferocious beast there among the stars opening its mouth to swallow him. Seeing this scene, Li Jingji abruptly became greatly alarmed, the look on his face changing greatly. That's him. So he actually came. No wonder the Night Temple didn't even send Long Xingyu. Hasn't he been secluded for already close to 50 years? Tan Wan had lost her previous battle, but, because the round was not over, she was still inside the area for candidates from the Mage Temple, and couldn't help but ask curiously in reaction, who is this person, teacher? Could he be even stronger than a divine knight? Li Jingji ordinarily had a beaming look, which had remained, as usual, even when running against Long Qianying earlier. But for this knight to cause his look to change so greatly, he clearly had some unordinary aspects. Li Jingji's look gradually came back to normal, explaining, in some ways, he's the true number one powerhouse in the Night Temple. If he had obtained the approval of a divine throne back then, maybe he could have risen as the true commander of the 6 great temples, and the Temple Alliance wouldn't be so dispersed either. What? Tan Wan was shocked, having never heard her teacher give such a high evaluation of another person, moreover someone from the Night Temple. Li Jingji had some reservations regarding even Long Houchen, believing him to still be way too young. Li Jingji continued, he is called Yang Haoyu, and is really a legendary character. The head of the Temple Alliance Yang Haoyu is actually his younger brother, but in some sense, Yang Haohan can also be considered his disciple, and you can well imagine from this how strong he is. He's close to 30 years older than Yang Haoyu. Back then, when Yang Haohan first made his name, Yang Haoyu had just joined the Night Temple, possessing an extremely high talent and powerful character, causing Yang Haoyu to be acclaimed as a knight with the bearing of a king. And, he's a retribution knight. Reportedly, the Night Temple's only divine retribution knight, Long Xingyu, is training using the retribution knight records he left. Yang Haoyu never makes use of any offensive equipment, because he has a really extraordinary magical beast called Starry Sky. This kind of magical beast already goes beyond the realm of magical beast, being an existence intrinsically belonging to the ninth step. It is able to transform into any shape, aid Yang Haoyu in his cultivation, and help him absorb heavenly energy from the sun and the moon. In terms of seniority, he is above me, and I don't even know when it was that he had broken through the ninth step, but he accomplished an unprecedented feat. He refused to become a divine knight. What? Tan Wan lost her voice. How could that be? Becoming a divine knight means having at least one divine tool, as well as becoming an auxiliary head of the Knight Temple. Lin Jingji sighed. Of course, Yang Haoyu knew this much, but he is really overly proud. This genius with a starry sky of the ninth step immediately gained approval from a divine throne, and if at that time he had accepted, he would immediately have become a divine knight. But he didn't do so, and chose to issue a request to the greatest, and never before used divine throne of eternity and creation. In the end, the divine throne of eternity and creation rejected him, and he did not choose another divine throne. After being bestowed the title of Starry Sky Holy Knight, he started to undergo a long time of seclusion, and, reportedly, he attempted to gain once again the approval from the divine throne of eternity and creation, but in the end, he did not succeed. Because his time spent in seclusion was just too long, he has since long disappeared from the watch of the 6 great temple's higher-ups. I didn't expect Yang Haohan to have actually invited him to this temple's great gathering. Reaching that point, Li Jingji's expression became quite desolate. It looks that I was too confident in myself. The Knight Temple's trump card. Tan Wan seemed to become unconvinced. Teacher, could it be that you are still unable to defeat him? Li Jingji shook his head. If I am up against him, my odds of victory are definitely under 50% even without restrictions, and the use of equipment being allowed. Have a good look, he will show you the strength of a starry sky divine beast. It is regarded as the number 1 divine beast, and Yang Haoyu is the chief elder of the Knight Temple. This time, Long Haochen should get taught a deep lesson, but that's good as well. He's too young, and to a youngster, getting defeated is sometimes the best lesson one can have. If Long Haochen could hear Li Jingji's words, he would surely be left with a deep impression, because he formerly suffered a blow of the most massive kind, costing him his own life. Now that he was living a second life, he had long since become entirely transparent, as peaceful as water. Long Haochen did not know that Yang Haoyu had such a glorious history. Looking at the armor and weapon on him, he couldn't help but feel startled, though his gaze very rapidly returned to normal, a golden hexagon having appeared around him. Despite not knowing about Yang Haoyu's glory, he could sense a massive threat from him, and didn't feel confident in being able to defeat this powerful knight. The hexagonal light in front of Long Haochen was mild, glinting in golden color, and slowly tracing lines of multicolored halos. Multicolored light symbolized a special realm, an existence equivalent in some ways to divine tools. Immediately, a tall figure appeared in front of Long Haochen, measuring over 4 meters, and over 2 meters tall. It had a pair of massive wings spreading out from his 2 sides, and was entirely lustrous gold-colored. The sole horn atop its head was colored in the 7 colors of the rainbow, and the instant it appeared, a light essence gushed out throughout the whole stadium, making visible the multicolored light spiraling around its body. The dots of starlight that had originally appeared in the air were dispelled in the scope of this multicolored halation. Divine Unicorn. Yang Haoyu was shocked upon looking at the magical beast standing in front of Long Haochen. In legends, some magical beasts were known as the optimum mounts for knights, and knights possessing such mounts were given a special name. First, the number 1 ranked were Divine Gigantic Dragon Riding Knights, followed by Divine Unicorn Riding Knights, followed by all the types of dragon riding knights. Divine Unicorns were ranked number 2 for the massive boosts and glory they gave to a knight. Yang Haoyu was named Starry Sky Holy Knight, because of his mount too, but a Starry Sky Divine Beast was not even written down in any ancient records, so it did not appear in the original ranking of the mount titles of knights. Because of its great power, it was added onto the ranking afterwards, but Long Haochen's Divine Unicorn was the true second-ranked being in the rankings. Long Haochen's figure flashed to sit on the Divine Unicorn's back. Immediately, the latter dispersed a multicolored halation, rendering his body multicolored, as well as causing Long Haochen's figure to look blurry. There used to be a legend in ancient times that girls had as an ideal for a lover someone who could step through multicolored clouds, clad in golden saint armor. Those so-called multicolored clouds pointed at divine unicorns. As for the golden saint armor, the current humankind did not know what it was, but in some manner, a divine throne could definitely be regarded as such. Isn't that so? A divine unicorn had already not appeared for many years, having vanished from Xingmo long ago. No one imagined that Long Haochen would actually summon such a mount to aid him in battle. Being disallowed from using equipment did not mean mount's boosts were forbidden. After a short time of surprise, Yang Haoyu's look very rapidly returned to normal, but he did not immediately rush to the assault, but spoke toward the lounge of the Night Temple. Chief Referee, I have a request. Because of my magical beast, I have no use for weapons, so my ability is unrelated to weaponry. So I will be clearly advantaged after summoning my comrade. Therefore, please especially permit Long Haochen to use any of his other equipment in this battle. These words immediately shocked everyone present. Despite being fully aware that Long Haochen had summoned a divine unicorn, ranked number 2 among knight mounts, Yang Haoyu unexpectedly still requested to permit him the use of other equipment. Was this out of pride? He visibly viewed Long Haochen to be far from being his own opponent. On the side of the Night Temple's resting area for contestants, all bright glimmer of hope had grotesque looks upon hearing Yang Haoyu's words. Lin Xin couldn't help but remark, isn't this old knight overly self-confident? Could it be that he didn't see boss light god domain? Long Qianying swept him with a glance, and declared lightly, youngsters being self-confident is a good thing, but they mustn't become blindly arrogant. Haochen is outstanding, but I am not optimistic in his victory. You should all know that as early as 50 years ago, Brother Yang was known as the Starry Sky Holy Knight, whose fame matched with Chen Zidian, and although he was not a divine knight, he was still the number 1 powerhouse of the Night Temple. If not for the utter importance of this temple's great gathering, we wouldn't have requested Brother Yang to step into the fights. Haochen's father, my son Long Xingyu, is only at most a follower learning from the records Brother Yang left behind. Hearing Long Qianying say this much, all bright glimmer of hope's member felt that Long Haochen was facing a really powerful existence. A divine knight was only a follower using the records he left behind, and an even stronger existence than the legendary Chen Zidian. What's with boss luck? Long Qianying calmly declared, I have no qualms telling you now that even though I am not sure of whether Li Jingji managed to break through successfully, there is only one person who managed to break through the 4th rank of the 9th step prior to Li Jingji, and that person is the Starry Sky Holy Knight. Hearing that, all bright glimmer of hope's members couldn't help but feel shocked. All of them aside from Duan Yi and Yang Wenjiao had reached the 9th step, but came to deeply understand how hard cultivation gets upon reaching this realm. Almost every 100 spiritual energy would come with its own bottleneck. So what could it mean to have broken through the 4th rank of the 9th step? It meant that Yang Haoyu's internal spiritual energy surpassed 400,000. And they all knew about Long Haochen's current cultivation, 2nd rank of the 9th step, and stopped at the bottleneck to the 3rd rank. But having the Heart of Eternity gave him an extra 90,000 spiritual energy, causing his internal spiritual energy to already be over 290,000. However, he was still only at the peak of the 2nd rank, having yet to get to the 3rd rank, while Yang Haoyu already reached the 5th rank's realm. At the 9th step, every rank had enormous gaps, affecting a lot of variables. One could say that every rank to break through upon reaching the 9th step would require expending great efforts, which are no easier than the initial breakthrough to the 9th step. But after a short time of shock, the group very rapidly calmed down, sitting upright and watching in the direction of the stadium. Long Qianying found out with shock that these youngsters all looked confident and resolved. For them to remain so confident despite knowing about Yang Haoyu's strength meant that they all held a sort of faith toward Long Haochen deep in their hearts. And this faith gave them an absolute certainty on Long Haochen's victory. Since you say so, Long Haochen is specially allowed to make use of equipment. Chen Zidian replied very rapidly, unexpectedly agreeing in a premise that the overwhelming majority of the spectators believed that this chief referee would not possibly accept. Some slightly younger higher-ups from the Sixth Great Temple felt incomprehension. The Great Temple's gathering promoted fairness at the top, but could it be called fair for the other contestants to permit the use of equipment to Long Houchen? But the older veterans watched young Hao Yu attentively. Even those who hadn't met this legendary Starry Sky Holy Knight before had all heard about his story before. Long Houchen had already won against Xiao Yonghao, becoming the representative individual of the younger generation. In this match, the issue of the final victor did not even matter anymore. More importantly, all those people involved by the Mage Temple had great changes of heart. For the Night Temple to have a powerhouse, such as the Starry Sky Holy Knight, and moreover a great pride such as Long Houchen in this younger generation, could the Mage Temple really take over their rule? People with eyes to see all knew the answer to that question.